G'day again, everyone. Alex Kelly here, once again chronicling our season of Top Split Racing for the Skip Barbers Season 3, 2022. Round 6 this week. We're at Sonoma. The IRL layout, one of the configurations here. It's funny. It's a pretty unpopular track, but I quite enjoy it. It's got a lot of character to it, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. And let's see how we go. Apologies for missing last week. Had some stuff going on, had plenty of things happening, and just ran out of time basically. Let's get set up to have a look. It didn't miss much anyway. Didn't have the best week, and it wasn't that exciting, but actually there was one good race in there with my chief rival and partner in crime at times, Vasco Sorosky. We had a good race, and I regret not putting that one up. Just ran out of time. Grid today, the great Christian Perez, Astro Racing Team, chucked it on pole. And I just want to point out the time there, 1:44.5. Not the fastest time of the week, 44.2 by Leo Ovcharov. I'll get that right one day, Leo, sorry. Leo has the fastest time, but not by much. Both have done a 44.2, but as you can see there, 0.6 ahead of yours truly, who... You know, I quite like the track. I go okay here at times, but yeah, that's another level, honestly. Frattini's back in P3. Justin Rebello, there's a special story there. Mr. Rebello, lovely guy from Canada. He was up, I think this is just after 5 a.m. in the morning. He got up specially to have a crack at SkipJack. And it was interesting because we say it's a SkipJack race. Not many Japanese folk in there. There's a couple lower down in the list, as you can see. A lot of them off doing the 24-hour spa. So we're a bit light on for Japanese folk, and some of the top skippy drivers just generally been absent this week because of the 24, which is no big surprise, big event. My chief rival that we're talking about, the head clown Vasco, he starts out at P5. Adam Miles, who is a legit chance in any race that he's in, absolutely. He's right up there with the best of them. Not having the best run in quali though, as was the case here, starting out at 6. Donald Sabanol for Team Milo, great to see him in there. So quick on his day, and anyway, good to see him in there just because there's a blast from the past. At 8th, Captain 499, Neil Gardner leading the way for the NZ charge of the ANZ club. Out of 9th, the first Japanese driver, Takatsuji, he's out of 10th. Team Milo Bossman, Russell Clark out of 11th. Katsuyama out of 12th. Oh, and I'm just going to see if I can find the button to find the next spot on the grid because I just want to go through. Ryan there in 13th. Greg Adams, another one of the clowns. Greg, get in there and update the overlays, mate. So we can see that you're wearing your clown badge with pride. Yuan Si Lin, who's lightning fast. But I don't know. I think it's his first race down the back there with Rona and Coxhead. So that's how we started. Good fun grid of drivers, honestly. You know, without knowing any better, looking at who's on pole in the gap, you'd be saying, we're all racing for second, and kind of sort of, you know, had that in the mindset anyway. But let's see how we go. We'll chuck up this lot of things and we'll get underway in what was quite a fun race, challenging in its own way, as they all typically are. But yeah, let's kick it off. So 14 laps around here at Sonoma. Straight away, cover off from, wow, Frattini, I swear he's been driving a pink car, and I swear he drove a pink car 2 races before this, but anyway, he was in a red car. Over the crest at 1. Of course, one of the really cool things about this track, and we might talk about it if we get a chance, is how you got to connect the corners. You know, in the sectors, some of them combine well, and if you connect them right, it's where you get the natural flow of the character of the circuit. And it's like many US circuits, it's got the elevation changes and the characteristic corners through the elevation changes, which you know, particularly in the opening sectors, the second half of the track becomes very flat. But and no camber anywhere in this sort of part of the circuit, but the first half of it's, yeah, got that US style, and of course that big sweeping carousel. What's a US track without a carousel, I always say. Anyway, we're away. We're sort of hanging on here at this stage. I really had two things in my mind in this race. Hang on to Christian as long as I could. You see, I had to lift there. You don't typically lift through that 8A section there. I have a habit of doing it on the first lap as he crunches and bottoms out through the turn 9 at the final chicane there. But I do lift on the first lap there. Just I haven't quite got the angle of the dangle right there quite yet. After that though, usually pretty comfortable, although in draft a bit of understeer and a bit of extra speed might be another story as well. But I was having a chat to Christian afterwards. He gave me a tip too of what I was, or where I might improve through there, and straight away you can see it just takes sometimes that external perspective on what you're doing. Get outside your helmet and get someone else to have a look that can really help, and someone like Christian, of course, kind of knows what he's doing. Over the crest, you can see what I mean about the elevation changes through the first part of this the lap here at Sonoma in this configuration. There's some really good configurations of it. This isn't my favourite one, but I do like it nonetheless. It's surprisingly unpopular. You know, I don't understand it, but we all have our things, right? We all have the different things that appeal to us. So like I said, two things in mind in this one pretty much. As we see Frattini already, I thought he might go here because he's very close. He was better than me through the exit of the carousel. I felt like I had his number through the opening sectors, but from the carousel on, I thought the exit of the carousel, which leads into really one of, if not the primary passing opportunity there at turn 7, that double right-hander hairpin. But I thought he had my number there, but I had his number in the opening parts of the lap. So on balance, though, it was very, very close. So he was the other thing in my mind. We've had a couple of races, not the least of which he had that big blink behind us there. Thankfully, from memory, that was the only one he had. Otherwise, it would have been a bit of a concern. As you see, you can start to see how much you can cut in that final corner. Do a full car width inside the painted apex. Yeah, we've had a couple of races together. I think this is our third race together, and each one of them so far, well, two of them ended in incident. One of them chronicled in one of the earlier races in this series of videos at Summit Point. Unfortunately, misjudged, and I turned him, and then a couple of races later, he returned the favour. I mean, there's nothing in them. They were just racing incidents for the most part that you learn from. But I was wary of that. Our paces are similar, and yeah, he's got that style about him where the elbows are out, and that's fine. It takes different strokes for different folks. I was just aware of it. The other thing, of course, like I said, I was very acutely aware that at any time, realistically, Christian could just drive away. It was really not only his race to lose, but kind of like a cat with a ball of yarn. He could really just play with us, I think, most of the time. Nice position to be in if you could do it, but at the same time, I imagine, even though this was like a 4.4k strength of field, which in of itself is remarkable here at Sonoma this week, but you know, it just speaks to the skill of the guy when he can literally just play with us. So the other factor in this front pack, as it turns out, was Mr. Rebello. Got a lot of time for Justin, actually. JR, nice fella. He's got that Canadian pleasantness about him, both in terms of how he conducts himself and how he races. And but yeah, you know, full pump to him. 5 o'clock in the morning. I think he got up at 4:30. He said, to participate at this one because of the time difference. And of course, he's sitting on the back of the pack, this front pack of 4. So yeah, there's really 4 of us. And if I sort of try and think about the mindset of the 4 drivers, Christian's there to have fun. He doesn't care about the championship and that sort of stuff, so he says, and he just wants some racing. Unfortunately, I don't think, even though it's, like I said, it's a 4.4k SoF, I don't think that any of us are really going to give him much trouble that he doesn't make for himself, either by design or through misadventure. You got myself, I'm hunting points. I want to get the championship points. My goal is top 5. I've had a couple of rough rounds, so you know, I'm on the hunt for points. So I don't get many opportunities. Probably 2 a week at most. 2 races a week where I can actually have a crack at points. So I'm looking to maximize what I can. I realistically think, unless Christian makes a mistake, and a significant one, I'm racing for second with Dario Frattini behind me. Frattini, you know, again, new on the scene in my experience. I think he's raced a fair bit before. I mean, he's obviously got pace and stuff. I'm not sure what his mindset is, other than to just race and get good results. And he has, I don't know, I call it a bit of a European style. He has that, you know, that raciness about him, where he's happy to go side by side. And having said that, I was quite pleased early on in this one. He had a chance or two to go in to the hairpin and attack at turn 7, because like I said, he had the run on me through the carousel a couple of times, but in the context of the race, you risk just losing any sort of draft with Christian at that point, and you're only ever then fighting for second. So he showed some racecraft there, which I thought was good. Not everybody does, and sort of sat rather than give up the draft and yeah, be stuck racing for second. Justin, on the other hand, was the 4th guy in this pack. He yeah, I don't know, he's had good pace here. He at times, as you can see here, he's, you know, over half a second off the back, or no, about half a second I should say. And that's the margin where you're kind of more thinking about hanging on than attacking, obviously. And I felt like he was probably doing 2 things. Doing everything, paddling pretty hard to stay in touch at times. Other times, like I said, his pace is pretty good, so he would have been all right. And then perhaps biding his time until the end, last lap or 2, to see what he could make of it. So that's the kind of mindsets that I was thinking at the time of what people were doing. So, and at the moment, we're at the tail end of lap 5, so a third of the way through the race. It's pretty line astern, and I've got to tell you, I'm paddling pretty hard just to hang on. You can see there, Big Blue, I'm missing the last corner pretty badly there. And it's so interesting, this track. The brake references are pretty tough to spot and very easy to get wrong. I was very mindful I didn't want to park it in the rear of the purple car in front of me either, so compromised a couple of my own lines and exits, although that one I was just obviously late on the brakes. Fun section through here in 4th, open up the corner that follows in 3rd gear, then down the hill, downhill braking zone, trail brake through in 2nd gear, although I didn't mean to kiss the curb there. Unfortunately, we did that time on the apex. Yeah, good bit of advice there for folks, in my view, is take that corner in 2nd. Better than 1st, get better entry speed, and the exit speed's about the same. So it's good. The exit is downhill, so you don't need the drive out in 1st gear because you've got some gravity helping you in the lower gear. You see once again Frattini right on my tail. I take an early entry into the corner there, run the shorter line, cover less track distance through the 2 apexes there. The entry was narrow because I was just sort of half defending, and here a little bit of contact there on the straight. I just put the car, you know, if you think about a car width off the outside of the track there, I was probably, I'm going to say, a third of a car width, so I didn't think there was ever any gap there. And I don't know if Frattini was just letting me know he had the run on me. I knew he had the run on me. Anyway, sometimes we play little games. So, the question in my mind here is, how long was Frattini going to be patient? We're coming up at the end of this lap, we'll be halfway through. When does he want his crack at Perez? Because my strategy here was to hang on, and I was hanging on. You can see I'm not holding back, and I'm really just holding on. I haven't had a legit opportunity to attack Christian as yet, so whether or not Frattini, because of the, like I said, he gets really good exits out of here, better than me. That one notwithstanding, my one was pretty okay there compared to his, at least. Maybe he wanted that crack at the purple car in front. That's what I was thinking. You see, again, I'm turning in too early there. Make up a little bit of time potentially, but not a great deal. But 4/10 behind Christian there in P1, and that's the bit that I'm not getting right just there. I lose a lot of speed through there. I wasn't opening up that first part of the sweeping 8A pair of corners there. So that's something I'll work on for future and take away from this season. But yeah, I was wondering how long it'd be before Frattini started getting interested, I should say. Bit better through there, although not great. Frattini closed up once again. And Rebello now, what's he? Still that 5/10 behind, not really in a position to attack. And I am at similar distance from Perez, similarly in no position to attack either. And realistically, I really need to hang on to his draft, because otherwise Frattini and I will just be battling until the cows come home. The draft that I'm getting from Perez is sort of counteracting the draft that Frattini's getting from me, which would otherwise put him in a much stronger position to attack. Come back tight on the exit there. Apex very late. It's kind of a 2 apex deal there, although the second one's the one you really care about through the carousel. Down into turn 7, heavy braking, of course. Alex sort of shortcuts it. Oh, I was right on the edge there. And caught up a little bit. I don't know if that was Christian just waiting for us a bit, or whether Alex's dive into the phantom zone there just paid off a bit and we caught up a bit. Very difficult to spot braking reference here too. I'm forever, when I'm sitting behind someone there, trying to spot the painted line on the outside and the little dip change in elevation. It's a very minor thing, and you're kind of looking through the wing of the car in front to spot it from as far out as you can, and then just sort of judging the distance from memory and muscle memory as much as anything. Got to be so careful there. I can only imagine there's been so many punts into that chicane as a result this week. So again, this is the biggest race of the week for me, 4400 SoF. You're not going to see too many of those this week. We might get another one tonight for SNL, which would be good. But that'll be about it. Of course, this track has the dubious record of, or title of having the lowest ever strength of field for a Sunday or a Monday Night Lights race. I think it was a little over 2,000 single split. I can't remember it. I don't think it was this configuration, but yeah, dark days and dark times in the world of Skippy racing and Sunday Night Lights. And here we go. This is the inevitable move when it came. Legit move, absolutely. Perez locking up, keeping us in it. And I really felt squeezed there. But we'll have a look, because you know, there's two schools of thought there, and we'll discuss it later. Have a look at it, try and learn from it. You know, in some respects, in the context of the race, like we were saying, as soon as Christian's gone, he's gone. So, you know, with the 3/4 pass done and only a quarter of a car overlap, maybe I'll give it up. Maybe I should have given it up easier and reduced the risk there. The alternate view for me is that I feel like we're only ever racing for second position with Christian in the field, and it's quite difficult to pass here at times. So giving up that second position, I may never see it again. That's the other thing in my mind there. So yeah, let's have a look at that one, a replay. No incident out of it. I did feel like I was squeezed there, but like I said, that's that sort of European raciness where you command the respect in the corner that you potentially earned there. And he'd earned the position on the road in terms of, you know, he made the movement, he made it stick. However, we'll have a look in replay. I'm not sure that the move was done. But now we're staring at the back of the red car. Now, for me, I really want P2. Hey, I'd love the win, but I'd really want P2. I'll settle for P3 and a solid points finish. I've been in a couple of positions, like at Long Beach. I was sitting in P2 in a similar strength of field, and I threw away. I just put it in the wall. So I'd thrown away a couple of 100 points, which really hurt in the context of the season overall. So I was looking to just secure some good points here, if nothing else, and take what I could from the race as it presented. Now, what I thought was really interesting was straight away, I felt like the pace stepped up a bit, whether it was Christian picking up the pace in front of Frattini instead of myself. I wasn't sure, or whether I was just a bit rattled from the incident. You see straight away I'm about half a second behind, so starting a bit concerned, if I'm honest. So we'll see how we go, but you see Justin in the rear there. He's about 7 tenths behind, and whether he's suffering from the same thing as I was, a bit of surprise that the pace is lifted, as immediately Perez does a 44 flat and sets the fastest lap, sort of confirming my theory. But I'm immediately almost 6 tenths behind as well, so yeah, the pace really stepped up straight away. So straight away I'm thinking, oh, third, is that all I've got? Are these two going to drive away? I've got to get my act together and pull it up, which is what I was trying to do. Like I said, I felt I was strong through these opening couple of sectors, and although it's 7 tenths, I thought, oh jeepers, is it over before it's begun, so to speak, with about 3.5 to go. So I tried to really keep it tight through there, and I don't know if what's going through the mind of Frattini at this point, how much of a shot he thinks he's got at Perez. I'd been watching him throughout and felt that he was holding back a bit, if anything. Big lock-up from Frattini. I saw him do that a couple of times, and thought that was perhaps a vulnerability that I could exploit, whether he was braking too late or wasn't getting the pressure quite right through there. But to do that, I really need to get near him, and you can see Rebello's dropped off as the pace has picked up, and it's really down to 3 at best, and looking at the margin, it's probably down to 2 unless I can do something about it. Oh, big mistake from Frattini. That's brought me back into it, and all of a sudden he's the one 7 tenths behind. I've gained a couple of tenths. I had to adjust a little bit. I did take a little bit of extra care in case he went round, and I didn't want to T-bone him and cost myself, or compound his mistake and cost myself the race. So again, I'm confident through here. I feel like I can pull him back a bit, although the telemetry kind of says otherwise. And then he makes another blue lock up on the inside right there. He seems to lock up a bit in those tricky braking zones there, and again at turn 7, and now I'm right back in it, and he's struggling to hang on at this point. Whether the pressure of the late stage of the race are getting to him, I'm not sure, but now I think, okay, well, again, back to a racing 2 for second position. I'll make sure I'm no threat here, because there is a slim chance that we could still hang on to Christian if he makes a mistake. Takes a very wide line through there, Christian, that time round. I don't know if that was to bring us back into it or what he was thinking, though. He's at the magic second mark. He's really gone. So it is really just a battle of the red and green cars here for the minor positions on the podium, as Rebello's out of it as well. And then he runs very wide there. Very wide indeed. And he actually gave up the position there. And then I got all excited and picked myself up a slowdown. So you can cut a lot there, but you can't cut that much. as it turns out. So after all that, whether it was the pressure of me or combined pressure of myself and trying to catch Christian, Dario Frattini made a couple of mistakes, and then I just made the classic, you know, the eyes as big as dinner plates, excited to getting through. Maybe I can get away and get P2, and then I just brain explosion style pick up the slowdown through the final corner. And there wasn't much in it, I've got to tell you. I don't think there was a lot in that slowdown, but slowdown it was. Anyway, so Christian's gone, and we are legit now fighting in somewhat bumbling fashion our way to the line, trying to grab P2. Although immediately it's down under 2 seconds. Christian sort of lifted again. I don't know, maybe he wants a bit of excitement before the end of the race. All right. Oh, and again, Frattini makes a big mistake, and that's the one I was looking for. Remember I said I thought he was overcooking it into the hairpin, and there it was. We've gone through, so he's giving me every opportunity. The question is now, can I take advantage of it? This is what you call the Keystone Cops bumbling our way to the flag, really. And again, Christian lifting massively. We're doing something to bring us back into it. We've caught, despite those bumblings, we've caught 3/10 or 4/10 this lap, I think. He's just cruising. That's okay. You get to do that when you're that good. All right, white flag is out. It's the last lap. Frattini's close. Rebello's back into it. So Rebello was gone. He was over a second. He was like almost 2 seconds behind, I think, at one point. And now he's right back into it. So there's 2 red Barons behind me, and I'm trying to hang on to P2, which was the goal for a long time, and rolling the dice, see what we can get in terms of a victory. I don't think we were ever really in that fight, but here we go. Again, I quite enjoy that corner. Frattini, he's pushed it pretty hard there, picked up a bit of the dirt. I think he had 8 or 9 incident points out of the race. I had a clean sheet from memory. So he was pushing really hard. That was the bit I was worried about, that he was better through there than me. But I think he's also got his eyes in the mirror too, because he's 2/10 behind me. I didn't think he was close enough to have a look, so I pulled out and took a more natural line, although I cut hard to the apex to really make sure. And the real bit I was worried about from here was, of course, I wasn't opening up here as much as I needed to get the speed through here. So immediately I move over to the right to defend, and he just takes all that speed into the final chicane here. Here we go. Break a bit early because I'm on the inside. Make the strong move there. And Rebello's coming into it as well. Rebello says, this is my chance. I'm going to get into it. Miles, who qualified badly, is not that far behind either. And Rebello takes the position into the final corner. McKellar's cheering. I think Perez has just given up at this point, caring. And, oh, McKellar gets P2, but what's in the mirror? Frattini, Rebello, Frattini. Oh, who got it? Frattini. Frattini got it by 4 1,000ths of a second over Rebello. Wow. That was pretty tight. Pretty tight indeed. Crazy stuff. Super exciting for them. Hopefully Justin had a good time and it was worth getting up for. I want to go back and see that run through the chicane, or the run through, it would have been this lap. Let's go find it. We're just going to analyze that one through here. So the overtake happens here. So what if I do that? Yeah, there we go. That might help. All right, so he's fine there. He's got the move done. I've left him the space on the inside. Christian keeping it interesting. I don't know. Maybe that upset his run a bit. So there's never at any point a clear call, but yeah, I guess, look, he's within his rights, I'm going to say there. Would I have liked a little bit more room? Yes. There's never a spotted clear call. There's certainly no track on the left to be given. Like I said, I feel like there's a certain style of racing where that's hard and that's, legit. For mine, I'd probably, obviously I'm in the green car. I want some more room, please. But the other thing to think about is, like I said, in the context of the race, I probably need to give that up for the sake of having the opportunity to compete for P1. And yeah, look, chopping off the nose there at the same time. All right, let's fast forward to the final lap and the run through the chicane. I think this is it. Yeah. So the issue that I've been having was here not opening up, and you see I'm half a car width narrow on entry to this, and these are flat out fourth gear corners, right? And that was my problem that I identified with Christian's help after the race. Now I've left the outside line open, and as we come through, left the room. See, I've left room on the inside there for another car. See, I feel like I left room there. See, with a block pass, for example, from this point here, my car would potentially push out and not leave a car width on the inside of the next apex, if you were going to really force the point, because he's out from that point there. I had probably more rights to that next corner than I thought, but I left room on the inside there. I left less room because I had the clear call. Although sometimes you don't trust the spotter's clear call these days. But that was the key move of the race, obviously, at the end there. Really keen to see this battle here. Rebello gets kind of almost driven off the road there. As Frattini, again, pushes wide and leaves. I reckon there's contact there. Let's say that's just a car width on the outside. That seems to be the style there. And then Rebello up the inside. He's got the run into the final corner. Leaves plenty of room on the outside. He's left more room than he needed to, and perhaps more than he would have been given. And Rebello goes through and just... if he opens up the wheel a bit more there, he's probably going to get the run. But Frattini coming back at him on the line... And bang. Oh, that's what 4 thousandths of a second looks like. Amazing. That was pretty cool. Pretty good way for a race to finish there, and pleased for both of them, and particularly Rebello, Justin and JR, who got up nice and early for that one. All right, so that's SkipJack for round 6, season 3, 2022. Perez dominant, it says a second off, but, he could have slept his way to the win at the end there when all of us were tripping over ourselves behind. I picked up P2, which was great in a renewed battle with Frattini, who seems to be a bit of a sparring partner at the moment. Rebello up early over there in Canada. He's grabbed P4 there. Hopefully he enjoyed that, and it was worth his time. Love to see him back. Adam Miles, who had that poor quali, he picked up a slowdown during the race as well, which really took any of his forward momentum away from him, just up the one spot at the expense of head clown Vasco Sorowski, who was a bit off the pace here this week. I expect him to put some yards in today and be ready for SNL tonight, and look forward to seeing him having a good result. And then the rest of the crew followed, the regular Skippy crew, although Jesper Koss, like I said, old but familiar face in there, in and amongst it. All right, so let's track our season. So the race results here. Like I said, 4,400 strength of field. We picked up some recovery I rating. We're down a bit in the last couple of weeks. But importantly, we got the 234 championship points. So we're trying to get 200 a week over the season. Of course, 8 weeks out of the 12 count. The goal is to get 1,600 points and maybe sneak into a top 5 position overall. Then if we go to the current standings. Now, last week, again, apologies, I missed the race video last week, we were sitting 6th overall after the things were all said and done. Vasco was sitting P3 from memory, maybe P4, something like that. He had a great performance in one of the races there last week, picked up some great points, had a victory over Rodriguez actually at Knock Hill. It was a great drive. But this is, again, pre-SNL. So there's 1 or 2 big races to come that could affect the points. I note that Sasaki's a week down. He's off doing the 24-hour, and Luqueta is 2 rounds down, having only done 4 races or 4 weeks that count. Again, probably preparing for the 24-hour this weekend, which means that we'll be run down pretty quickly, I think, when some of those guys come back, and Rodriguez hasn't done any racing this week either. But we're on track. We're at 200 points a week at the moment, with two scoring rounds to go and half the season to run with drop rounds and stuff. I'm really hoping that we can attain that 1,600 points and maybe sneak in a top 5. That'd be awesome. Anyway, folks, that might do us. Don't forget, check us out at all the right places, so to speak. Of course, we're on YouTube here, as you know, where you found us here. This is where all the SNL replays and that go as well. Check us out on Top Split TV on Twitch, which is where we do the SNL broadcast each and every week on a Sunday night. Then, of course, the Discord community is where all the SNL stuff goes on. Have some good conversations there, and all the standings and what have you are kept there as well. All right, folks, thank you for joining us. Very good to have you here on this journey over the season, and hopefully it'll continue and we can reach some of those stretch goals that we're chasing. But again, thank you for joining us. I'm Alex McKellar, and until next time, ciao for now.